there everybody, this is Grant, also known as the Collector 75, and welcome to part 30 of my Transformers UK G1 comics review. We are really getting to the end of this now. I think we've only got like about 4-5 parts to go, something like that. So I'm going to do sort of like roughly 10 issues in every go plus an annual. And talking of annuals, we are going to kick this part off with the 1990 annual. Now, it's a bit strange because normally what you'd find with an annual, especially in the UK, is they would be actually in 1990, for example, you get the 1991 annual because it's usually their off-sale date is why they're usually. Let me just give you an example. On this comic here, we can see the date there, the 4th of August. Now, we wouldn't have got that on the 4th of August. We'd have got that a week before the 4th of August. 4th of August was its off-sale date, which would be the date when, if there were still any in the newsagents, they would take them away, ready for the next issue. And that's basically how they work over here anyway. Well, they used to work over here. I've no idea these days. So anyway, but it's got a bit confusing with the annuals because they started not to have any indication of when they came out. It just has the usual bit in the little blurb down here, the legal bit, and it just says comes out in 1990. And that's it really. So this is the next annual in the line anyway, and it features, I think for the first time, a gorgeous bit of Jeff Senior painted artwork. I think his painted artwork is absolutely fabulous. I really like it. Now, if I do go to TF Nation this year, I'm not totally sure yet, and Jeff Senior is there, this is one that I'm going to get signed, because I do like his painted artwork. I've got a Judge Dredd yearbook, or was it the annual? I think it was the annual that he did some painted artwork for. And I should get that signed, really. Anyway, right, that's me waffling on enough about this, really, but it was a great cover. You get the same image on the back, along with the barcode. Right, so anyway, so we go through it. Now, let's hope the pages don't fall out like the last one. We got a nice interior artwork there by Jeff Anderson. I don't think it's credited, but I can tell that's Jeff Anderson. If it isn't, it's someone who's done a very good job mimicking his style. Now this is well, I should have mentioned it before when I did the last annual in part 27 or whatever, because I was late doing the annual in that one. That's why it's a bit weird. That was the final annual to actually have any original strip material. The only new material in this is the Magnificent Six, which is a text story, which does fit in with the UK continuity. And that is it, really. Other than that, we've got some reprints, colour reprints of Fallen Angel, which was a great story. I love that one. Here we go. Some great artwork by Jeff Senior there, and we've got some A to Z updates. And then we come to the Magnificent Six, which is a really cool story. Now, I was actually reading this the other night, because I haven't read this in so long. I was trying to get a gist of what the story was. I sort of remember it. And it's basically, I think, because it's set during the Earth Force, Optimus Prime says, I need some warriors to go to Cybertron, to this dark depths of place on Cybertron. I can't remember the place name. And basically find out what's going on or something like that. And Optimus Prime's expecting, because he's ordered these Autobots here into a room. And he said, just expected them to say, no problem, Optimus, we're the guys for the job. But they all make their excuses saying, oh, I don't know about that. It's not, it affects my body and all this. Like Sunstreaker says, well, I'll rust really quickly. And everybody comes up with an excuse and he can't understand why. So he just orders them to go there. And then we get the bit in the blue, which is a backstory of why they don't want to go back there. And this takes place before the Transformers left Cybertron and crashed on Earth back in 1984. And it basically has all these Autobots here, and this guy we've never seen before. They go to this area of Cybertron, which was quickly colonised by the Decepticons once the war started. And something happens, and I can't remember exactly what. That's why I want to reread it. I just didn't have time to reread it before I did this video. But it's great. I was just reading this bit here, and it's got about this guy here. I think it's about him, and he's saying he joined the Decepticon army. And here we go. Look at this. Let's have a look. As with many of his fellow Decepticons, Steamhammer enjoyed inflicting pain, enjoyed the thrill of some poor defenceless Autobot was blown apart by a concussion blaster fired at close range. And then in speech marks, join the Decepticon army, kill, destroy, ravage, close question marks. He had fallen for the enlistment advertisement hook, line and sinker. No one advertised endless, pointless guard duty, watching out for attacks that would never come. But today was different. because obviously then the Autobots attack. Something happens. Their commanding officer is a guy called Megadeth or something. It was a bit of an unoriginal name there, if you want my opinion. This guy here. And he's got his little cohort, which is Thunderwing. Now, they never did explain exactly how a Pretender existed before the Pretenders existed, and when Scorponok made them. I remember a long time ago for the old Transmasters fan continuity, I was gonna write a story where they would explain that, but I never got around to it. But that was me all over, really. Anyway, right, so we go on to it, and something happened. I think some nasty thing happened with Megadeth, but the Autobots do go back there and they find that Megadeth is actually still alive, and these old Autobots that were sort of like, which they class as dead end, or whatever, they were down and outs, can't remember, but they were like zombified or something like by him, and so they have to rescue them or something to that effect. And then we've got the Know Your Ships from the Transformers lore and everything there. We've got some more Fallen Angel Part 2. We've got Swoop here. And we've got the Magnificent Six Part 2. It does feature Thunderwing. And we've got Megadeth. Love a toy to come out of that. He looks nasty. It was quite a good storyline, and then we finished off with just Firebug from issue 189 or something like that. And that was it, really. What a shame. I remember these annuals. Now, I found this annual, because normally they used to be in WH Smith's, like about August time, because I remember getting them just before I went back to school after the summer holidays. But I think this is around the time that WH Smith stopped doing that, because maybe people just weren't buying them no more. And I found this in a newsagent, just casually idling by. Oh my God, wow, they brought out a new annual. I didn't even know they were bringing one out. So I bought it. Yeah, so that was pretty handy, bit of a lucky find, that one, really. Anyway, right, so that was that annual there, put that up there. And let's start with the Transformers comics. So we continue here with issue 281, cover dated the 4th of August 1990, still at 45 pence. Nice cover there, reflecting the UK story inside. We have still got the ongoing story of the Transformers meets G.I. Joe, whatever it was called. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm probably a bit too critical on this story. It was probably... I don't know. It's probably okay for its time. Because I'm just not a G.I. Joe person or Action Force, that's probably another reason why I was a bit overcritical of it. It was probably okay. If you reread it, it'd probably make more sense. It just wasn't my cup of tea, really. Yeah, I mean, it's okay as stories go. There we go. And we finally reached the end of it. There we go. So we must be back with the proper US strip next issue. We got some more A to Z's there of Swindle and Swoop. Another Real Ghostbusters advertisement. And then we got Making Tracks. And now we find out how they're actually making... how they're reactivating all these Autobots without the use of the Matrix or anything like that. Because this is kind of... It's a weird... How it is exactly set or when it's set. So... They've basically got this plant that's remaking all their bodies, and then they just transfer their spark, their essence, they didn't have sparks back then, into them. So that's how they're doing it. And now, for some reason, Grimlock doesn't like Tracks, and they're about to do it, and he's been trying to sabotage him into not being built. And he can't stand it because he's just all blooming, what's the word I'm looking for? All, oh, look at me, I can't think the right word. Chasing him with his axe. As I said, they always try to make the UK stories quite fun, which is kind of cool. And then we got Combat Collins Prehistoric Adventure, more Dread Tidings, now in black and white, and then we got the G.I. Joe the Action Force as the backup strip. Look at that, we've done 10 minutes and I've only done one issue. So always happens when I do an annual. And then we got Shut Up, which is a great story featuring the Pretenders there. It's Bludgeon, Stranglehold and Octopunch. We've got an advert there for the Micromaster Combiners. Pop that over there. And we come to issue 282, which is a great cover featuring Bludgeon. Really evil looking Bludgeon there. Nice one. So, we come to the part 2 of the Matrix Quest. We had to wait. I remember in the UK, I had to wait ages to get this, because obviously this time I wasn't actually buying the US comic at this particular moment in time. I don't know why I never thought of it, because around this sort of time, I was actually buying American comics from a comic shop. So it never occurred to me to see if he could get the Transformers comic. I have no idea why it never occurred to me. Anyway, right, so obviously I had to wait for it to be reprinted in this before I actually read it. Now, I wasn't too the first about 3 parts of Matrix Quest was never too keen on. Some of them are okay, as stories go. They're more just like single stories about Autobots on a different planet trying to locate something, but then they run into their own problems, basically. We had the last issue with the robot mob, you know, and that item that they were trying to find and everything like that. And we have this one where they're set on like an old Wild West planet, and where the Autobots are going to help someone who the locals say, oh, you shouldn't be helping them, but they can't understand why, because they seem really nice and helpful and everything. And then the Autobots are suckered in, basically, because they're sort of parasites who feed off their emotions or something like that. Well, we'll get to that as the story goes through. Anyway, right, there we go. We've got, speaking of which, we've got more competition results. So here we go. See, this is it's quite a nice little Wild West story, really, with a twist in the tale. So there we go. As you can see there, I think these people are trying to run these people out of town. They seem like a nice, decent family, and the Autobots, being like Autobots, try and protect them. And then we got some more A to Z to Tailgate and Tantrum. I want the Power of the Prime's Tailgate. As soon as I see it cheap, I'll buy that. And then we got Shut Up. Now, these 3 are in incarceration after, I believe, they were captured after, I can't remember exactly what issue it was, with Wolf in the Fold, with Carnavac and whatever. And now I think Inferno's guarding them, and he can't understand, they won't make a sound or anything like that. And it bugs him to hell, and I think eventually he just goes in there. Or he's forced to go in there, and that's what they've been waiting for. I love that picture of Octopunch. That is the best picture of Octopunch. You don't see nothing about his face apart from those teeth coming through that mirror of the glass there. Love that. And there we go. And eventually, because of that, they've been waiting for him to break really and go in there, and then they attack him, and they just walk straight out. He said they did it by keeping quiet. I love that. That was a good story. And then we've got Conway Oliver and 7 Automatic Steve. Sorry if I'm snuffling here. I've got a blooming cold and everything. I'm just getting over bronchitis, and as you can see, I'm coughing. It's not good. So I do pardon me. Anyway, right, then we've got more Dread Tidings and Into the Breach with G.I. Joe. We're going to come to the next issue. And then we got Charge. Now, I can't remember this issue. Oh, that was a nice advert for the classic heroes there. Obviously, that text story in the annual was because of these were reissued at that particular time. Then we're going to come to issue 283. Now, I believe someone suckers him into going to a firing range, which is quite funny. So we got more of the Kings of the Wild Frontier. And now we got Thunderwing interrogating the Autobots that he captured in the first part, and wanting to know why Optimus Prime has sent Autobots to that sector of the galaxy. And he says, Decepticons must not know. Ah. And he finally figures out, I believe, I can't remember where, so I'm going to say it now. He's tracking some other Autobots. Like I said, it was a bit like Dinobot Hunt from the old UK issue 50 around there. So he tracks them down, and he realises that they're after the Matrix. And for some reason, he can sense the Matrix. And he says, it's strange, I can sense the Matrix. Maybe the time has come for a Decepticon to possess it. And at that particular time, the Matrix is going through its own metamorphosis. And I loved that. I found that amazing that, yeah, perhaps now we were going to get a Decepticon that should hold the Matrix. And that, for me, was fantastic. I loved it. One of the best storylines there. For top storylines, you're looking at Target 2006, the original Bob Budiansky run, and then these issues. These were just sublime in storytelling and just feeding your imagination. I loved them. So there we go. You can see he's got a nasty little evil grin there. You can tell he's up to something. And then we've got a competition with Monster Munch. Oh my God, roast beef. I love that flavour. They stopped doing it for the longest time. Then they come out with some weird other beef flavour. But I think they've just started doing it in the last few years. I don't know why they ever got rid of it. It's such a nice flavour. I love crisps. Anyway, right. So here we go with Thrust and an A to Z in black and white. I don't know if they're going to get away with this or not. But there we go. And then we've got manoeuvres. Now, I believe that Octane gets some fuel, fuels up, and is forced onto a firing range where the army is practicing, obviously doing a firing range. And he can't believe it because obviously he's full of fuel, and one hit and he'll go up like it's firework night. And it just, you can tell Jazz is the one who's left him there. And face it, you've been outmaneuvered. I love that. We've got more Combat Colin. We've got G.I. Joe, more Dread Tidings. Let's move on. I was going to be on this part forever. We've got issue 284. We've got more Kings of the Wild Frontier, and we've got Optimus Prime having one of his dreams sort of things, and we've got Unicron there. If he doesn't find the Matrix, it's oblivion. And so we have here, and now Thunderwing is after these Autobots because he's on the trail of the Matrix himself. There we go. So now we have Tracks and Topspin. We've got Assassins. Now someone has put a bounty on Starscream's head and is trying to take him out. I believe it was Soundwave, because he wanted... I think at this particular time they have joint leadership of the Decepticons or something. Or their own band, or something like that. And Soundwave wants the leadership all to himself. There we go. And then something's up with Snarl. Now, do you remember that story where, in the previous annual, where something was up with Snarl and they had to transfer him to his body? Now, this story links in because, look, it goes, yes, it's Corrida Gravis. Snarl will rust to death unless he receives a symptoms boost from a compatible Transformer. The only compatible Transformer is Starscream, so the Autobots must save Starscream from being assassinated. And it does link into that other story in the annual almost a year ago, which is well weird. So there we go. And we've got Combat Colin. We've got Dread Tidings. We've got Stock Exchange, Grapple, Old, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Sea Spray, and or Slag, Ratchet, Power Glide, and Motor Master. Swap videos. Oh, sod that. Keep the Vector Sigma every metal wasn't Call of the Primitives. No, I don't think so. Then we've got some more G.I. Joe. And we've got Snarl Saviour. Right, so we come on to this one. At a particular time, Starscream's figured out that it was Soundwave who set him up. And then we've got more of this storyline. And Thunderwing knows that these Autobots have been snared by these parasites. So he leaves them to their doom. And only one Autobot manages to figure out that you've got to fight back against them. I think they kill them all in the end to make sure that no one else is ever captured by these aliens, because that's their real face and everything. They do kill them all, I believe, even the little ones. So there we go. A bit of a nasty ending on that one. And then we got more A to Z, Trypticon and Trailbreaker. And then we got External Forces. We have Starscream getting the ump with Soundwave and destroying everyone. And there we go. And then suddenly the Decepticon Mayhem, well, these three break into and look like they're going to kill Starscream. But the Autobots have to save Starscream. There you go. And then Starscream and Salvia must die so that Megatron and Shockwave can lead the Decepticons. Very strange, because I cannot place exactly where this is supposed to be in continuity. So there we go. Right, so there we go. We've got Stock Exchange. Wanted. Hoist, Grapple, Inferno, Prowl, Skids, Trailbreaker. And reasonably good condition. Surprising, someone's put that. Swap Springer, Scalar, Seeming, Slingshot, Blades, Vortex, Drag Strip, Streetwise, Rodimus Prime. Oh, I don't know about that, there's a lot in it. And then we come to the end. We've got the Geometry Lesson. And then we move on to issue 286, Friends at Last. There we go. So the Autobots do manage to save Starscream there. Then Call Me Longtooth. Now this is Deadly Obsession. This is where these particular Autobots, I think it's like your small Autobot pretenders, I travelled to a weird water planet where they've detected that, I think this life form came into contact with the Matrix maybe as it passed by or something like that. So that's how they detected it there. But Longtooth's got into his head. It's a bit weird, I don't know. Like, I love that Orca. Is that not the ship of the one in Jaws? The Orca? Can't remember. Anyway, there we go. So, yeah, it's the Longtooth's got in his head that he needs to hunt down this creature pretty much like they do in wherever it is. I don't know, in the world where they hunt whales, which is a bit out of order, but there we go. Yeah, so I don't know. But then we got Emirate Zaron and everything. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird storyline, that one. Never too keen on that one. Anyway, then we got more A to Z on Ultra Magnus and Twin Twist. Then we got the UK story where they're basically trying to save Starscream's life to help Snarl. I'm assuming they do it. I can't actually remember. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's go. So we've got Combat Colin. We've got Fair Trade. We've got Dread Tidings. And then we've got an Internal Struggle. Now this is the final couple of parts of the UK story. Here we go. We've got Run, Superior's Out of Control. And then we've got more Deadly Obsession Part 2. Let's have a look. Well, we've got Robo-Who. There may be a few of you out there who've been off planet for a while who don't know about the long-awaited sequel to the original RoboCop movie coming your way next month. God, RoboCop 2, eh? There we go. Anyway, so more Deadly Obsession Part 2. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird storyline, this one. Never too keen on that one. But Thunderwing does show up. I like it how Thunderwing is present all through the Matrix West Chronicle. I like that. And then we've got an A to Z just on Unicron now. It's always kind of cool. I love how they've done that, but they could have easily just made it small. But, you know, they could have given him a bit more text. But there we go. We've got Knights of Pendragon there. And then we've got Superior and Out of Control. I think it was because of a cerebral thing by... I can't remember his name. Bombshell. And they needed this human, who's also a journalist, to fix him. I can't remember if it is. Might not have been Bombshell. But I can't remember. They used him to fix him. But he did that, alright, and he's quite happy. And then we've got more Combat Colin, Dread Tidings, Stock Exchange, Wanted, Scattershot, Blitzwing and Misfire. Swap, Pretender, Grimlock, Hunger, Vortex, Seaspring. Maybe. And then we've got more G.I. Joe. Then we haven't got a next issue. Oh, yes, you have some back. We've got Newsflash. Then we're coming to the last couple of parts here. We have got issue 288, Stop the Press. We've got Deadly Obsession Part 3. Yeah, there's the whale thing they're trying to capture. Yeah, it's a bit weird storyline. Some of the artwork's a little bit weird as well. That was the only thing that let the US comic down, was some of the artwork. It was really hit and miss, and they couldn't get a consistent until Andrew Wildman come along and said he would draw most of it consistently, and that was the only time they finally got someone consistent. It was, you know, but up until then it was this bloke, that bloke, and the art style was vary, and that would be putting people off. A bit like my cough, probably. Right, so we've got Vortex and Warpath on the old A to Z. And we've got Frontline, Comic Convention Scandal. Oh, yeah, bloody hell. And then the last part, we've got Bombshell here. Now, this journalist is going to do sort of like a story on the Autobots and how they're here to protect us. Decepticons can't allow that, as usual. A bit like the old Robot Master storyline from a long time ago. So they're going to put paid to that. Then we've got Combat Colin and the Secret of the Combat Trousers. And we've got Dread Tidings. We've got Comic Exchange, Wanted, Collected Comics 1 to 11, 13 and 14. Swap, Transformers Annual 1988 and issues 193. No. Right, we're going to finish that off. Right, so then we've got Rogue Games, the final ever original UK strip. Here we go, right, so this is it. This is the final UK original strip. Issue 289, 29th of September 1990. You know, we come a long way. With the UK strip, we went from Man of Iron in issue 9 through Dinobot Hunt, Target 2006, Wanted, Galvatron, Dead or Alive, The Legacy of Unicron, Space Pirates, Enemy Action, Time Wars, and to the lesser extent, The Fall and Rise of the Decepticon Empire, and loads of little mini stories that were quite cool, like, I can't remember the one, but with the Deathbringer and everything like that, and 2 Megatrons. And it ended here, in this lackluster story, really. We go into it, when we go into Deadly Obsession Part 4. And I believe Longtooth does come to his senses and doesn't kill it. So there we go, and then the Decepticons go off, looking for the Matrix again. More A to Z there with Wheelie and Wheeljack. And then we come to a story entitled End of the Road. Kind of like, well, I assume Simon Furman knew that this was the final issue, that he would actually do any UK original strip. And so, as usual, this is how he usually ends a lot of his stories, especially when it's the final one, End of the Road. I believe it was End of the Road in issue 80 of the US. Generation 2 issue 12 had End of the Road. And I think maybe in Dragon's Claws number 10 it was End of the Road as well. Pardon me. Anyway, right, so in this issue, that journalist has been captured by the Stunticons. The Autobots do recapture him, but he's been infected by Bombshell's cerebral shell and is about to write a story. Not so nice to the Autobots. And he goes, Robot Monsters by Erwin Spoon. God, that was a weird name, isn't it? Yesterday I was thrust into the heart of the giant robot camp where the evil faction of Transformers known as the Autobots held me prisoner, no doubt to blackmail the government. And that's how it ends. That is the final story, and the next issue just has this: the war goes on. That was kind of a weird thing in the UK. There was a lot of things saying the war goes on, especially in the early days of G1. I had a big poster saying with, I can't remember, was it Sideswipe on it and someone else with a big battle. It's either the battle goes on or the war goes on, something like that. And that was kind of a cool thing. I used to like that. So then we got Combat Colin, The Secret of the Combat Trousers. We got an advert for this, Desertion of the Dinobots in 3D. I was thinking of buying it once. I never did when I was a kid. And then we've got All Change. There we go. This next week sees a rearrangement in the action as the US stories take centre stage. There we go. And we've got an advert there for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizzas. Pardon me. And then in the final part of this, the final issue of this part, we look at issue 290, The Awakening. Now, the covers now reflect the US strip, which is a bit of a shame, really, because we get no more UK originated strip. Right from here on in, this comic is just a reprint title, which is a kind of a shame when you think of, like I said before, just some of those classic stories that we got from the UK. But still, it was still okay. I picked this up. This is around the time, I think I started picking up the US comic at issue 69, give or take. So there was still a few more stories that I hadn't got. It's just a shame. It's just a shame. Still, there we go. And if you could do the workings out of how much story that they could print in this comic, you could work out the final issue date. Because once you knew the US comic was going to end and everything. Anyway, but let's not dwell on that. Let's go for this issue. Now, I loved this part of Matrix Quest. In this, we got there some just UK reprints now. Oh, pardon me. We go back with Wanted, Galvatron, Dead or Alive, which is kind of cool, isn't it? Actually, I don't know if it is Wanted, Galvatron, Dead or Alive. I can't remember. So there we go. Actually, no, it's Legacy of Unicron, I believe. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Right, so we've got more Wild Rider and Windcharger in the A to Z. And now we've got this. This is a great story. This was Matrix Quest Part 4. And I love how it starts, because when we get to the last part, it really does mimic this. And it says, time passes, an age, a decade, a second, we are not sure. Since we were sent forth into the great void of space, time has lost its boundaries. Then suddenly there's sensation, as obviously his funeral barge hits this asteroid. And it says, we are Primus, we are Prima, we are Prime Nova, we are Sentinel Prime, we are Optimus Prime, we are Creation Matrix. We know pleasure, purity, goodness, but we would know more. And then it says time passes, and we talk about the Deathbringer and everything. And that UK, and then it says time passes, a creature crawls away within us. We examine it, we recreate it. It becomes our dark creation. Just so they can experience taking life as well as to give it. And then we got the Autobots a bit later on. Time passes, it says, and they've come here. It's a bit like a scene out of Aliens. It's quite kind of funny. Like if you look at even this walkway, that is straight out of Aliens. It's kind of cool. And something's happened here, and they don't know what, but they've got traces of the Matrix. And obviously everybody is dead now. And then we go. So we're going to come to the next part in the next part of this. And then we've got Combat Colin in colour. Back in colour. Features the night of Robocall 2, obviously. A bit of a pun on Robocop 2 there. We've got Dread Tidings back in colour. We've got Wanted, Comics Exchange. I'm not going to go through that. And then we've got G.I. Joe Bailout. And then the next issue is... We've got... I love some of that artwork. Jeff Senior's artwork is just fantastic. There was somewhere he knew how to draw Transformers. There we go. And then we got this advert for Desertion of the Dinobots in 3D. Wow. Anyway, right, that has been part 30, I think. I think we're up to part 30. I could be wrong. Or is it 29? I don't know. Either way, it will say in the caption, and I said it earlier. Right, so this has been Graham, the Collect 75. I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.